Hello, and welcome to the Feeling Good podcast, where you can learn powerful techniques to change the way you feel. I am your host, Dr. Rhonda Borowski, and joining me here in the Murrieta studio is Dr. David Burns. Dr. Burns is a pioneer in the development of cognitive behavioral therapy and the creator of the new TEAM therapy. He is the author of Feeling Good, which has sold over 5 million copies in the United States and has been translated into over 30 languages. His latest book, Feeling Great, contains powerful new techniques that make rapid recovery possible for many people struggling with depression and anxiety. Dr. Burns is currently an emeritus adjunct professor of clinical psychiatry at Stanford University School of Medicine.
Hello, Rhonda. That's my wackiest one ever.
That's a good one. Hi, David, and welcome to all of our listeners around the country and across the world and flying around in your UFO spaceships in the galaxy. This is the Feeling Good podcast number 362, and this is another episode of Personal Work, and we welcome back Mina. Hi, Mina.
Hi, Mina.
Hello. Great to be back.
Good. Shall I read a really brief endorsement? Because personal work takes a long time, so I could just read a very quick one.
Sure.
And this is from Sally, and she wrote us about episode 355, which was an Ask David, but was also about relationship problems be gone. And Sally wrote, "This was the first time I listened to your podcast. It was an incredible learning experience, especially when you did the role play. I look forward to hearing more and gaining additional skills for these tough interactions." Sally.
Well, thank you, Sally, and we'll do more role play. I'm glad that was really helpful to you. That's good information for us. And anytime you listeners, we appreciate all of you with one or two exceptions. But we really appreciate your input and what you like and what you don't like, and we'll try to do more of what you like and less of what you don't like, and that way we can kind of move forward together. But we have a great opportunity today to do our hopefully best teaching, which usually comes through personal work. And today we have Mina returning to talk about some personal issues. And before we start out on that, let me just go over the T equals testing, right? So your depression score is 10 out of 20, and that's a fair amount of depression. Actually, it's not in the severe or anything, but it's definitely more than just a minor mood disruption. 20 is the highest score, so 10 is halfway there. The anxiety score on the same scale is 15, and so that would be pretty severe for the anxiety. And then surprisingly, the anger is 12, and that's a good bit of anger. And the happiness, the version on your brief mood survey, Mina, goes from 0 to 20. And so 6 is very sad because it means that you're experiencing very little happiness and optimism. And then the relationship satisfaction scale with your husband, Maurice, is 5 out of 30, indicating really low relationship satisfaction. On that one, 0 is the lowest possible score and 30 is the highest possible score. So why don't you tell us a little bit?
Can I make one other comment?
No.
May I jump in? I should have said.
Yes, you can jump in, but you can't comment.
I'll dive then. Well, even though there's a fair amount of depression, Mina, I'm really happy to see that your suicide thoughts and scores are at 0. And I was just wondering if that changes and you start having suicidal thoughts, would you be open to talking about them?
Yeah. Yes, I will.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, now back to David's question of why don't you tell us what's going on?
Yes. So I'm 47, so I'm having some perimenopausal symptoms, anything from not having regular periods and once in a while having hot flashes. Since I was basically 22, I was primarily working with postmenopausal women in my work, in terms of any kind of chronic conditions that they would have, as part of our research and trying to improve the lives of women over age of 50 or 45, actually. That was the major focus of my PhD work, and one of my focuses was specifically on bone health. And one of my biggest dreams was like, by the time I reach this point, there would be like major changes in medicine that would be doing better. But I don't think it's, with the exception of hormone replacement therapy, because at the time also when I was doing all of this work is when the Women's Health Initiative came out, and a lot of women were taken off hormone replacement therapy. So there was a huge side effect of that. As I was working on this, I saw the worst menopausal symptoms in the study patients that I was working with. So having seen that and having seen what might happen and some of the worst case scenarios, it's something that I'm really worried about. And I don't actively think about it. It's like one of those things that is like constantly at the back of my mind. It's there. And it's actually was a little hard to do the daily mood log because I couldn't. It's something that I'm worried about. It's something that I'm sad about. I'm something about my worry about what future might bring, given, again, all the experiences that I've seen. But at the same time, it's not something that, it's not like something that's happened that I have strong emotions about it. So it was a little hard figuring out what is it that's really bothering me and why am I feeling the way I'm feeling.
Let me see if I got this and get Rhonda's input, but you say you're 47 and you're having some early symptoms of menopause, and not having regular periods, for example. But this is a little worrisome to you, perhaps above and beyond the call of duty, we might say, because since age 22 in your PhD work, you've been working with nutritional issues for postmenopausal women, particularly the focus on bone health, to see if there's and you're aware of the problems that you can get from when your bone density gets too thin, and you can get fractures and a lot of bad complications. And you've been hoping for major changes in medicine and new developments, but there hasn't been a whole lot that's been all that great. I know, for example, you can take calcium and vitamin D, and my doctor told me to take all this calcium, and I think all I got out of it was a kidney stone because the calcium in the blood is regulated. You can't just put calcium in your mouth and have it go into your bones. It just goes out your urine. So I know kind of what you're talking about. And there are those new pills that cause bone to be built up better, but I think they cause necrosis of the jaw, and I didn't want that. So it's I think you're right that I'm not aware of any tremendous new treatments, and that you saw some of the worst case scenarios in your days working with postmenopausal women, and so you worry about it. It's on the back of your mind. But when you did the daily mood log, and I can go over that too, because that's pretty illuminating and shows some of the thoughts that are bothering you. But you said it was kind of hard to figure out, and so we want to keep our index of suspicion high, because we know with you sometimes the hidden emotion model is going on, so that there might be some other conflict with husband, with coworkers, with somebody that you're upset about, and then it comes out as somatic anxiety, which you've had on many occasions, and so we just have to keep that in mind, because sometimes when we pinpoint what it is you're angry about or upset about, and the anger score was pretty darn elevated, that when we figure that out and you act on that, then the anxiety and the physical symptoms can suddenly disappear. And we don't know if that's going on here, but we'll certainly try to figure that out. But am I doing okay so far? And
Yes, you're doing okay. You're doing good.
And it wouldn't hurt to just go over if your daily mood log, because I think then we'll get everybody on the same page right away. And the upsetting event was just irregular periods due to perimenopause, and the sadness cluster is 50, but they're all checked off, feeling sad and down and depressed and unhappy. And then the anxiety cluster, those are all checked: anxious, worried, panicky, frightened, nervous, and so forth. And that was 60 out of 100. And then shame was 60 out of 100. And then feeling inferior and defective, 60%. And then all of the lonely cluster, all those feelings were checked: lonely, unloved, unworthy, rejected, alone, abandoned, was 50%. So you've been feeling a lot of loneliness, Mina, and a lot of negative feelings, actually. And then you're feeling embarrassed, foolish, humiliated, self-conscious, and that one was actually 80%. And then hopeless, discouraged, pessimistic, despairing, 70%. So these are pretty darn intense. And frustrated, stuck, thwarted, and defeated, 80%. And the anger cluster is 60%. You checked off all of them: angry, mad, resentful, annoyed, irritated, and upset. And so I imagine these feelings kind of come and go, and this is when they're at the more intense level, and you're suffering in 9 different categories pretty strongly. And then what you're telling yourself, and you can tell me how much you believe each of these as I read them, or how much you believe them when you're upset. The first thought is, my body is going to fall apart. What's the belief in that one?
Almost 100%.
100. Okay, yeah. Sure. That's scary. I'll have to spend endless hours in physicians' offices, none of whom can help me.
80%.
80%. And I'll be grumpy and agitated, and my husband, Maurice, will leave me.
This is about 50%.
50%. And I can't keep up my current workload, and I'll be let go. In other words, I'll lose my job. And
right. That will be about 70%.
70, and we can always hope that happens, because then you can have your dream of opening your private practice.
I thought about that. It's we can talk about it too. Yes.
Sure. I should be doing more strength and weight training exercises, but I'm too weak and unfit to do them. What was the percent in that one?
That is a pretty good, I would say, 100%.
100%. And that's a scary one. And I'll get osteoporosis and die in pain like my grandmother did.
Oh, this is high too. 90%.
90%. You're a pretty chipper person almost all of the time, but do tears ever come to your eyes? You ever get kind of really broken up when you're thinking these thoughts and feelings?
No, not about these usually, no. I get angry because I kind of feel stuck. It's like there's nothing I can do about this.
Yeah.
And I'm really stuck. So I feel kind of anxious, claustrophobic, but not not teary. I just want to do something about it, and there's nothing I can do. So I think that's kind of makes me distracted and unfocused and all of that.
So I added that one to it. There's nothing I can do. I'm
Right.
stuck. And what's the belief in that one?
Oh, that's 100%.
And then I'll have to get plastic surgery.
Kind of optional, but it's more, I would say 50. Yeah.
50. And I'll be rejected and looked down.
Yeah, that would be 50.
50 or 60?
50.
50. And I will suffer just like my patients.
That's 80.
80. Okay. Well, thank you. And so it sounds like you're really, really hurting and scared and angry and worried about what's going to be happening. Let Rhonda take over, but I'm just sad to hear you've been hurting again. I'm very fond of you, and whenever you're feeling down, you feel it pretty intensely, and we'll see if we can figure it out a little bit.
I want to add, there is this part of me that's stop whining and toughen up. This happens to all women. So you're not special. It's just everyone goes through that and people are doing it. It's like, why are you crying and whining about it so much?
My thought exactly.
I was just thinking that.
I'm just teasing you. I wrote that down as thought number 11, and I should stop whining. How much do you believe that one?
100%.
That's under it. Okay, that's good. And any other new ones come, we'll just add them to the list. But let me see if you can jump in there a little bit, Rhonda.
Well, it's always hard to see people that you care about who are suffering, Mina, and I too care so much about you, and to see all the pain that you're experiencing over your body aging, and I can't help but notice, and maybe this is off, and tell me if I'm off, that the relationship satisfaction is so low, and your feeling of loneliness is relatively high. And is that connected to this anxiety or the worries about menopause?
Yes, it is. Thank you for asking that. I think that's really important to unpack a little bit too. So my husband, Maurice, is about 8.5 years younger than me, and we don't have children. So one of my biggest worries is about aging and getting older too, is that I don't have kids. So if something happens to my relationship with Maurice, he's a man, he can go on and have kids or another family, and then I'm just like easily disposed and be alone and die alone, and I have no one. Okay, here are the tears here, David. This does make me sad.
Just let those tears out, Mina. Yeah.
Just fearing that you'll be dumped by your husband and you're disposable, you're too old, you can't have children, and you'll end up alone, and that's bringing real tears to your eyes right now. How long have you been worrying along these lines?
Since we've met, always.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So throughout your whole relationship, you worried that he's 8.5 years younger than you, and as you get older, he could easily discard you for a younger woman and start a family, and you'll be left by yourself.
Right. And I think in general too, it's been something that I've always been worried about. I've never wanted to have children, and I think one of the reasons I was always reluctant to getting married was exactly this, that no one would want to take care of someone. Like if you don't have children, there is like no reason for them to want to be around and to take care of you, or that they can leave you. So it was always a worry of me being abandoned.
It sounds like were you thinking that if you have children with someone, that's a guarantee that they will always somehow be in your life?
No, not necessarily, but it's like that in particular, if men want to have children, and then you don't, and at some point they change their mind, then that can be a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm. And you're getting to a place in your life where if you change your mind, you might not be able to have children.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, out of curiosity, talked with the OBGYN, and she's no, can't do. Highly recommend against it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so all of this, the thoughts about Maurice having kids or changing his mind about having kids and abandoning you for a younger woman, and which is part of a journey toward menopause, is creating the feelings of sadness and loneliness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then add to that also, like, I fully understand that not all marriages work and people break up, but then I don't also have any children to care for me. I also know through our work in the Tuesday group, I know that a lot of mothers and daughters have like conflicts in their relationships, and there's no guarantee that if you have kids, you're going to have an amazing relationship. But still, it is a relationship that I don't have. I don't have sisters. I'm really close to my parents, so it's like really like the idea of, again, it's if something happens and they're not around, it's going to be pretty lonely. I have a brother as well that he's also very, very supportive too, but we are like, he lives in Canada and I'm here. So there is a lot of, and right now, like whenever something happens, my parents are my go-to. I am really good friends with them. I'm really, really close. They understand me. Like being from Iran, it's like the shared experiences. There is something, it's almost when you kind of go through the experience of we are about to die like hundreds of times with your parents and your family, that kind of creates a sense of connection that just hard to explain, some sort of camaraderie in some ways that
and I imagine it's hard to recreate too. You have these shared traumatic experiences that you've been through, that you've overcome, and that you have in your backgrounds with each other.
Right. And more so, I have that more so with my parents than, for example, with my brother, who was almost born when the war was ending. So he's too young to have had those experiences.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really, there's so many nuances to this. It's really hard for me to kind of figure out what is it that's most bothering me. Losing my parents, not having children, my relationship with Maurice, or my brother, or getting osteoporosis or cancer.
Yeah. And as you see yourself beginning to have these symptoms like irregular periods and you said hot flashes, that's also help facilitating you thinking about your parents aging and perhaps dying and leaving you. Yeah. I admire your closeness and your best friend relationship, that they're your go-to.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And scary to think about losing them.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I just want to say, this is not a topic that many people talk about, especially publicly. There does seem to be a lot of shame, and society is so youth focused and judges women on their youth that we kind of shy away from this discussion. So I really appreciate that you brought it to our attention and that you have the courage to bring it up and work through this with us in such a public forum.
Thank you. And yeah, you notice there's a lot of kind of shame, embarrassment, feeling defective, and all of those things because of that too. Just there's this thing that you have to fix. You're going to look older, so you have to look youthful, and you have to have plastic surgery, or you have to like not look old. You have to look fit. You have to somehow fight this thing that's about to happen. And then I need time to do this, and I don't have time to do it. Or money, actually, sometimes too.
Yeah, plastic surgery is expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And what if you do it and you don't like yourself afterwards?
Yeah, what if you look like funny?
Exactly.
I have a question for you. I suspect I know the answer, but I'll ask it anyway. Have you shared these feelings and concerns with Maurice?
I have, yeah.
And how does that go?
Doesn't really go anywhere. He doesn't either respond. With the child, not having a child thing, he also kind of says he's worried about it, and he's like trying to make sure that financially we are in a safe place. So that since we don't have children, we have a way of securing elderly care for ourselves, or somehow that we are in a good place. So his way of dealing with some of the same fears I have for future, and again, not having kids, is to make sure that we save enough money so then we are in a better place that way. And I always joke around that if something happens, there's always the idea of not prolonging my life, so then just so it doesn't make other people kind of uncomfortable, inconvenient. But yeah, he does. He's don't worry about it, or either he doesn't say anything, or he says, "Don't worry about it. I'll love you," or "I will never leave you." But I have dated someone who was older than me, and I have had the same things to him. He was 26 older than me, and then we did break up. So I know these words mean nothing when things are not going well.
And so did that conversation increase your feelings of loneliness and low relationship satisfaction?
Yeah. Yes.
Mina, is that a negative thought? Words mean nothing when things aren't going well?
No.
Are you taking that from your
personal? I think it's just basically
experience?
what I meant is like people change their minds. Like
sure.
Mm-hmm. Like you did when you were dating the man that was older.
Exactly.
Well, are you feeling like David and I are understanding you?
Yes, you are. I just feel very confused myself about what is it that's like really bothering me. There are all these different, like it's a lot. Is it my body? Is it my relationship? Is it like getting old? Is it osteoporosis or getting sick? Or is it losing my parents or not having children? That's why I decided to do this work, because I can't figure out what it is.
So there's a lot of things that are impacting your feelings, what's happening in your body, concern about your relationship, wondering about osteoporosis, getting old in general, becoming sick like your patients, that not having children, thinking about your parents getting older and losing them.
And then the next one is like, how much control do I have and what can I do to minimize all of these things? So for example, that goes back to, should I be putting more time and effort into exercising, or doing hormone therapy, or take bone medications, or like to prevent osteoporosis? So there are all these things like, okay, so how proactive can I be? And I think it just adds a lot of confusion. We always talk with David about how California is such a magical place, and I really enjoyed connecting with nature. And recently I look around and I can't find that connection anymore. Where is the magic, Like we go for hikes and somehow I don't feel it. And same thing with Maurice as well. He tries to connect with me and encourages me to go for hikes or watch a movie together. Not talk about the issues. He doesn't like talking about the issues, or share with me something about his work. And I'm too anxious to connect. It's almost like I want to talk about these things and sort them out. And he doesn't want to go there, but he wants to connect in other ways. And it just doesn't work. And I feel like we are both becoming kind of passive aggressive towards each other. He probably also feels alone and abandoned. Most of the weekends I'm working. I feel so that my other worry about not being productive at work and always being behind is I'm also working all the time. I feel like I'm just not getting anywhere. And that also adds to the tension of our relationship. So in some ways, I don't know if I'm working to avoid the discomfort that's in our relationship, or is it because I'm worried about not being productive at work and being let go? And a little bit that actually happened too. Like I got a notification last week that one of the groups that I was working with are going to basically end my appointment with them. That was 20% of my time. And one of them was like, we were not getting enough clients through that program to kind of support my salary.
Oh, no.
So, and then that makes me more scared about like the private practice, because what if I do that and then I can't still get enough clients? And I've been talking to different people about private practice, and everyone says it's really hard. You may not get clients, in particular if you want to do nutrition. There is not a very successful business. So yeah, all of that.
So one of the groups that you work with is responsible for 20% of your salary, and you're supposed to be earning that by seeing patients.
Right.
And you haven't been seeing enough patients for them to break even on that. So they're not going to continue to support that 20% of your salary.
Right. Yeah.
That's sad. That's very worrisome.
Yeah. And I get really good feedback on my coaching. I always do maybe like the after session evaluations. The feedbacks have been really good, but in general, people are not signing up. I don't know if it's like because COVID is done and people are out and about, or people are using more apps. Who knows what's happening? But there is definitely less. Or time of the year, no idea.
This is a fall off in people using whatever services they're promoting more than having to do with you and everyone else getting patients, but not you. It's everybody is
not getting. Yeah, it's not just my issue. It's like the whole program is getting significantly less people compared to 2020, 2021.
Oh, and that's because the COVID is getting better. So then this was a COVID counseling type of.
No, it wasn't, but the signups were really high during that period. Again, makes sense. People were at home, they had more time, and now it's a lot busier. They probably don't have time to spend on things that's not absolutely necessary. Nutrition is like one of those things that, you can figure it out yourself. Like you don't necessarily need to work with someone. It's not, they don't have to make time for it if they are busy.
Sure. So there's less demand for counseling services since COVID has been falling off.
Right.
Yeah.
But also it sounds like people might be turning toward apps, or might be saying that they want to figure it out on their own.
Right.
And not finding it a necessary type of counseling, although you don't really know. There's no way to actually survey people who aren't coming to ask them why they aren't coming.
Exactly.
But it is worrisome to lose 20% of your salary.
Right. Yeah.
And that ties into your fear that once past menopause, you also won't be productive at work, and then you might lose your job.
Right. And then the private practice is also the same thing, because if I can't get clients here, how can I get clients on my own? So, yeah.
Okay.
So you're confused on many fronts, if I'm understanding you.
Yeah.
You're confused about what's the heart of the issue here, because you're kind of worrying about a lot of different things all of a sudden, and kind of non-specific worry tumor.
Yes, exactly.
And then you're also confused about what to do about all these things that are worrying you.
Right.
And you feel kind of stuck too, because like when you try to talk with Maurice, he doesn't want to talk about upsetting feelings, negative feelings and stuff. He wants to go for a hike or watch a movie or distract ourselves, and you don't know what to do about the financial issue. Should you go into private practice? Will I get enough patients? Everyone worries about that at first, so that's quite understandable. And then you don't know if you should be exercising more to try to increase bone growth and antidote osteoporosis. And And so you're generally kind of hurting and feeling sad and lonesome and like you're going to be rejected, very insecure with low feelings of self-esteem and self-worth, and plus threats, external threats to your life and your existence. And then in addition to all the emotions that you've been having, have you been having somatic sensations too? You sometimes get that when you're upset.
Yeah, I have. So I haven't had the irritable bowel syndrome symptoms for almost 10, 15 years, and then I'm having them in the past month or so.
And what kind of symptoms again?
Irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, IBS.
Even though you changed your diet when that first occurred, those symptoms are starting to reappear?
I haven't had IBS symptoms for like over 10 years. So it's back since a month ago.
Oh.
So like cramps and stomach cramps.
Mm.
Miriam, are you having any other symptoms like night sweats or mood swings or insomnia?
Not mood swings, but only like the night sweat. Okay.
I have night sweats too. What does it mean, Rhonda?
It means you're going through menopause, David.
Maybe I am.
Those are also, Rhonda, those are my worries as well because also cognition. I have some clients that I'm working on right now, and they're going through it, not remembering words, but not getting enough sleep, having brain fog. So all of these things I'm worried about, with the intensity of my work and my sessions, and the focus of my work right now is being mentally sharp and fatigue medication, all of those things. I'm going to be a hypocrite. I'm just going to be all mentally foggy and mess up in my sessions, not empathize with the clients, or forget their past, or not be ready, or just overall doing a really poor job at my work with my clients, not having good performance, focus, all of those things because of sleep is worrisome too.
Well, I have a question for you, Mina. I view you much like a colleague, and so I would have to ask you, what's bugging Mina? So sometimes something is bugging her. She shuts it out of her mind, doesn't deal with it. Something that she's mad about or upset about, and then it not necessarily this time, but on other occasions, it's been very helpful to identify what that thing is and take some action on it, and then things start to feel a whole lot better. And this looks suspiciously like that same pattern. It might not be, but what do you think?
I wonder if I am upset with Maurice, but I don't know that's necessarily, it's not hidden. I am upset with him. I want to connect with him, but it's just not happening because he doesn't want to talk about difficult emotions or difficult topics. So I do feel lonely.
So you say that you prevent him from talking about difficult emotions and difficult topics. Was that what you just said?
Based on what David says, that's yes, that will be the relationship that yes, I know the relationship model, so I am somehow preventing him from wanting to talk about this difficult thing.
Well, we could explore that with a little quick relationship journal kind of thing, if you like. I'm just kind of still in the detective work phase of I'm trying to figure out also what's going on before we do our agenda setting or things of that nature. I think we're doing probably an okay job of generally empathizing and supporting you, but maybe haven't really zeroed in on the problem. But what you're saying now sounds very promising. And just as an experimental thing, could you give us I actually don't have a relationship journal in front of me right now, but I have paper that I'm using. And what is one thing that Maurice says, and what exactly do you say next when you're having one of these interactions that you're unhappy with?
Let's watch a movie together.
He's okay. So he says, let's watch a movie to together. Mm-hmm.
And then I will say that I feel too anxious and my mind is too busy to be able to relax and sit still to watch a movie. I feel I need to do something.
I feel too anxious and my mind is too busy. Did you say?
Yes.
To watch a movie?
Yeah. And to relax.
To watch a movie and relax. Now, when he said let's watch a movie together, what feelings do you think he was having at that moment? And if you have a relationship journal, it makes
it makes it easier. Let me pull it up quick. So he would be feeling probably lonely, frustrated, worried. Oh, I'm going like column by column. I should probably do
sure. That's a good way. Lonely, frustrated, worried,
unloved,
rejected,
stuck. Say again.
Rejected.
Rejected. Yes, for sure.
Stuck.
Stuck. Yeah, stuck. Foolish.
He's feeling foolish.
Yeah, because I kind of I'm telling him not a good idea to watch a movie it's kind of shallow or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Mad.
Hurt.
Angry, hurt. Depressed. And also, I think this might be a right direction to go because he also has a lot of psychosomatic things. He's been having a lot of acid reflux.
Oh, he's upset too.
Yeah. Panicky. In general, I feel when I'm feeling upset, he also doesn't do well. If home is not peaceful or in order, he doesn't feel well. Bad, unwanted, humiliated, maybe resentful.
Did you say resentful?
Resentful, yeah. Down, probably nervous, down and nervous. Ashamed. Yeah, ashamed.
Okay, and then how were you feeling when you said I feel too anxious and my mind is too busy to watch a movie and relax?
Well, anxious. I do feel guilty. Lonely, frustrated and angry, worried, unloved, stuck, depressed,
hurt,
yeah, panicky also. This kind of restless. I don't know if that's kind of part of.
Sure, restless, panicky.
Are you feeling confused?
Yeah, a little, yes. Confused. And frightened. annoyed.
Let's see. Do we have the angry? Yeah, angry, frustrated, discouraged.
Discouraged. Yeah.
We've got the lonely, inadequate.
Yes. Also, I feel like clingy in some ways. It's also, I want him to solve this problem for me, but he can't. So he probably feels helpless.
Mm-hmm.
And I also probably feel helpless.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling right now, by the way?
Embarrassed.
Embarrassed. What's the thought that makes you embarrassed?
I should know better. I know how to use 5 secrets, and I'm not. I also feel like selfish and self-centered, which is okay. Angry at my no, I don't know.
So I added these to our list of negative thoughts. I should know better, and I'm selfish and self-centered.
Yeah.
And then what's your belief on those two?
Selfish and self-centered. I get that a lot. So I would say 100%.
Good. And then
it's been confirmed.
I should know better.
Oh, also 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And is that laughter, nervous laughter, or laughter of relief?
A laughter of relief, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm not sure why, but it's nice to see. Now we can go real quickly through the relationship journal, and the EAR checklist. Did you empathize? Did you share your feelings? Did you show respect? What would you say? Did you empathize?
I did not.
Did you share your feelings?
Just one of many. The anxious one, anxious, restless one.
I would have to say that you're acting out your feelings. You're not sharing them. You're using your feelings to reject his suggestion, to put him down. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and I am putting him down for sure.
Yeah, right. Now, our complaint about him is that he's going to reject us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that he doesn't share his feelings, right? And then he's going to reject me.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then how are you preventing him from expressing his feelings?
By shutting him down.
Yeah. Did you shut him down there?
Yeah.
And then how are we forcing him to reject us?
By shutting him down and rejecting him.
Yeah. Does that seem pretty clear?
Yeah.
Is that hurtful to look at? You said it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And why is that hurtful?
It's actually nauseating. It's almost like vicious.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like being vicious and mean.
You're feeling nauseated right now, Mina?
Yeah. It's just not very, very kind. But just, he's such a loving, caring person, and he's trying to take care of me and connect with me, and I'm shutting him.
No, that is sad, isn't it, to see that?
Yeah. And I'm like being
in his way. Yeah. Are you tearful now?
Yeah.
That's a really nice thing to see. I'm really proud of you for taking a look at this. Yeah. And,
he's probably feeling very lonely.
Yeah. it's beautiful to hear what you're feeling now. Yeah. Just let those tears come. Yeah. This reminds me, you were there Tuesday, right?
Yes, I was.
This reminds me so much of that same moment with Indrani and the Tuesday group, and I'm so proud of her, and I'm just so proud of you right now.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
Hopeful.
Yeah. Why hopeful?
Because I can do something about it now that I know what's happening.
Yeah. So what did you want to tell me, Mina?
Well,
I just suggested we could go for a movie or something.
Right. You're right. It would be nice to watch a movie together and relax a little bit and have fun instead of constantly worrying and planning and doing things, and to just kind of connect in a way that's relaxing for you. And I love you so much, and I care so much about you, and I can imagine how lonely and rejected and stuck and angry and frustrated you might have been feeling, and how I've been shutting you down and putting you down and making you feel bad about even suggesting to watch movies, and maybe even shaming you for wanting to relax and not always doing things. And I can see how hard you are trying to, how hard you are working to help out and to make me feel loved. And I feel so embarrassed about not taking your offer. And I wonder in what other ways I might have let you down and rejected you. And I want to hear about all the ways that you've been feeling in the past few months, where I've been all over the place and restless and anxious.
Okay, I've got to give you an A plus on that. But tell me about your concerns about menopause now. You haven't been exactly sharing that with me, and I sense you're kind of angry with me sometimes too.
Yeah, I really worry about, like, I'm going to go through menopause, and it's just my body's going to feel, my body feels different and weird and unfamiliar to myself, and I just don't know how to deal with it. And in terms of our intimacy, it's really hard to figure out what is this new thing that's happening to me and how I feel about it. And I feel embarrassed and ashamed about all the changes that I'm experiencing and all the changes I will be experiencing. I worry how it might affect our closeness and our relationship. I know that I worry about, like, you being embarrassed about me looking older than you, or in front of your friends, how I might look like. I may not be, like, looking very presentable, for example, if I'm looking too old, and I'm scared of having plastic surgery. Or I should also mention that my husband works in cosmetic industry as well, so it's that kind of adds to the idea of, like, all women around him are, like, always particularly perfect skins and no wrinkles. And so on one hand, I don't like to go through those, and I want to be kind of natural. On the other side is I worry about looking really old and wrinkly, and then on top of that, I'm like older. So I just have a lot of worries about how things are going to be, and being old and lonely and abandoned, and we don't have kids to take care of us.
How do you think you're doing now?
I actually don't think I've ever told him all of this in one shot. Like, there are all these bits and pieces that I throw out, but never like a string of thoughts connected to each other in this way.
Yeah. How do you feel about what you're doing right now?
It feels really vulnerable and scary to say that, and then I worry about scaring him off.
Sure, you could tell him that also.
Right, and I worry about telling you all these things, and then you kind of get worried and get scared, and then leaving.
Better to keep it under your hat then, I think.
Well,
should we get some feedback from Rhonda?
Well, I just want to ask you a question. What do you have to pay to get close to someone? That David Byrne says. Do you know that?
It's very important. It's a fantastic thing that he said. I can't even remember it myself.
It's allowing yourself to be vulnerable. That vulnerable is the price you have to pay to be close.
Right. Yeah. And I feel I'm the one who has to take care of him and make sure. So I need to be strong and protective and make sure that he's okay. And yeah.
So
just if I'm falling apart, then he's going to not do well and fall apart or run away.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just feel like you're doing fantastic, Mina. And I'm just really, really proud of you. And I don't know if this is the answer, but I think it is the answer. That it's very understandable that you'd be holding these things in, and it's very brave of you to be open with them here on the show in front of so many people. And David and Rhonda, how are you feeling right now about what you just did?
It is scary. I also still worry about doing and saying things, and then him running away as, oh gosh, like this is too much, and I'm not like ready for it. Or,
well, you know the answer to that?
Asking him.
Well, you could do that too, but I was going to say that's what we call it, the practice of medicine. We're just practicing. But yeah, sure. That's the kind of the chance that we all have to take when we're vulnerable. Make ourselves vulnerable. If it was easy, everyone would be vulnerable all the time instead of acting things out all the time.
Yeah.
But you're saying
I think I think, David, this is it, because usually when I'm like really, I go into avoiding things, and I've been avoiding him. So chances that this is the issue is, in terms of if it is a hidden emotion thing, the chances that this is the problem is pretty high.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, avoiding getting close.
I'm wondering if you'd be feeling up to blasting some of these negative thoughts on your daily mood log.
Sure, let's do it.
You up for that, Rhonda?
I am. Do you think we need to do a little bit of outcome resistance? What does this say about her that's really awesome or beautiful, or speak to her values, or give her an advantage? We
definitely can do that for sure. You're talking about the daily mood log. What's positive and awesome?
Yeah.
Go for it a little bit, Rhonda.
Well, let me just ask you, just to continue on to the team model, Mina, if we had a magic button here and it really was magic, so without any effort or work on your part, all of these really painful feelings and challenging negative thoughts would instantly disappear if you pushed it. Would you push that button?
I wouldn't, no.
Yeah.
Only because I know that, from the work we've done is they have values.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could take some time to look at what the value is.
Yeah.
Your sadness level is at a 50%, that cluster, sad, blue, depressed, down, unhappy. I wonder if you could come up with some ways that your sadness provides you with some advantage or shows how beautiful you are, or speaks to your core values.
I think the core value of me is appreciation for beauty and excellence. And somehow the society that we live in, I mean, it doesn't, getting old doesn't quite fit that, right? So it is my value to be beautiful and excellent and be at my best. And then getting old is kind of, right now at least, it's not in that in accordance to that. And I worry about that. So I think that would be one value. And then in what way it can help me, it motivates me to do things. Like, for example, I don't know, wear a sunscreen, wear a hat so I don't get more wrinkles, or work out more to kind of maintain more muscle mass, or do whatever I can within my power to kind of slow down my aging to the degree that I can. So it's motivating.
Sure, and that's it's motivating. Why do you want to be beautiful?
Why would I want to be beautiful?
Yeah, the sadness shows your huh?
It's a useful thing to be. It's good to look. I don't know. I like to look beautiful. But why? Because I'll be more.
But why? Who do you want to look beautiful for?
It's mostly because I enjoy beauty.
Sure. Thanks for clarifying that. I was foolishly thinking it had something to do with Maurice.
Acceptance, right? I want Maurice to feel proud of me.
Why?
Because he is right now, he's often bragging about how beautiful his wife is, and he shows me off to his colleagues and or friends, and calls me his gorgeous wife. So I do worry about not being that, or not looking that way.
It's because you don't want to let him down?
Yes.
And why don't you want to let him down?
Because I love him.
Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
Is that powerful?
Yeah.
Great. And I love what you're saying here. And then you continue, Rhonda.
Okay. Well, you did a really great sort of hidden downward arrow. That was beautiful. I wonder if some of this is also leaking into your anxiety, and what your anxiety shows about you that's really awesome and speaks to your core values, or gives you an advantage.
Again, anxiety is always a very motivating feeling. Core value. I don't know about what core value it would have aside from what we already discussed.
Well, you really care deeply about what other people think of you.
Right, I do.
Is that important?
It's one of the self-defeating beliefs, so I don't know. Wanting to be liked by others, and
well, all of these things are two-edged swords, but I'm saying, is there a positive side to that?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if you want to go through all of these feelings, Mina, or the ones that are 50 or
really
higher.
Like we could talk about embarrassed. Maybe.
Yeah, let's hop to that. That's at 80. That's pretty high.
Yeah.
What does the embarrassment show about you? That's awesome. Or it gives you an advantage or speaks to your core values.
Why feeling embarrassed? Embarrassment is such a horrible feeling. I don't want to feel embarrassed. What is the advantage of feeling embarrassed?
Well, sometimes when you feel embarrassed,
What's the elephant in the room? Embarrassed. What is the awesome thing that you're overlooking? You said you were feeling embarrassed right now in front of Rhonda and David, right?
Right. And that was about like being mean, and so that I want to be kind and loving.
Is that true?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Warm, kind, loving.
But embarrassed doesn't that also show that you're kind of afraid that maybe Rhonda and David will be disappointed in you? You're not using the 5 secrets.
Right.
You're embarrassed.
Yes. Right. Yes. Yeah.
And so what's great about that then?
That again, it's kind of similar to the last one, that I care about what other people. Well, I care about people who care about me, what they care, what that they, I love you and Rhonda, and I want you to be happy and proud of me. Kind of similar to how I want Maurice to be happy and proud of me. So I want you all to be proud of who I am because of all the support that you have given me. So I don't want to let you down.
Yeah. So, is that a good thing?
Yes.
You want to live up to what you think David and my expectations are of you. Like we expect you to
and
do the 5
secrets.
Well. And
right.
Maurice's, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, is that a good thing to live up to our expectations? Us and Maurice?
Yeah, right. Definitely. That's something that I always really try to do. My parents, everyone that I love and care for, I try to live up to their expectations.
Yeah.
My brother.
Yeah, and because you love people and you want to please them and make them happy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now, what's so great about your anger? You got every type of anger imaginable at 60%.
So again, I think all of these are motivating, but the type of anger that I have, I think it goes back again to me wanting to be my best and feeling like I can't be. So like having high standards, trying my best.
I'm trying my best and I can't be, you say.
Right. I also probably, if I didn't feel these feelings, I wouldn't be here now. So in some ways, it's motivating to do the difficult work. Embarrassing, like you said, embarrassing myself in front of the whole world.
Sure.
But it also shows, isn't it also showing how tenacious you are? Like you're not giving up.
Yeah. Yes. That is something that.
Yeah, that's a good one, Rhonda. Now, usually anger has an outer focused component. Who is it that you're angry with?
I was angry with Maurice.
Because
he might abandon me or not love me.
So you're feeling some anger toward him.
Right.
And
because I want him to love me and to care about me and to be there for me. So I value our close relationship. I value being in a loving, close, warm relationship.
Yeah, well, that sounds like good stuff. And is that something you're going to be telling him too?
Yes.
About your anger?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So then, I don't know if we have to positively reframe all of these feelings. I just wonder, these feelings, they're so motivating. They show how kind and loving you want to be, your high standards, that you're tenacious, that you value a loving and close, warm relationship, that you want Maurice and everyone in your life who you love and who loves you to be proud of you. And you don't want to let Maurice down, and you love him, and your appreciation of beauty in general. I mean, given all of these incredible things that you identified, I can see why you wouldn't want to push the magic button and get rid of them, because all of these things would go away. So instead, moving on to the magic dial, let's see how much of these feelings you actually need to maintain the good qualities that they provide for you and eliminate the pain and the suffering that they're causing you.
Yeah, how sad would you like?
Right? And selfishness. I think if I don't use the magic dial and I keep things be at their current level, is making me very self-centered and selfish, because those feelings are too strong to allow me to get out of my own skin. So I do want to lower them so I can connect.
What's an appropriate amount of sadness? Because it's kind of a sad time. You know, I'm getting older too, and I'm shuffle along. I feel like I'm running at high speed, and everybody goes past me, and a lot of age-related changes, and short-term memory isn't so good anymore. Although my long-term memory is good, and I remember our hikes for sure, every moment practically.
Yeah.
But how much? But we lose things and beautiful things as we get older. And so, what would be a healthy amount of sadness at the end of our session today? How sad would you like to feel?
I would do 5.
5, is that enough sadness?
Yeah, more than enough.
Okay, let's put that in the goal column. 5. How anxious do you want to be? Because that's motivating you to do all this stuff and get activated and fight back against Father Time, huh?
Yeah, I don't like feeling anxious. I want it to be 0.
You want to have no anxiety about menopause and being rejected and childlike and dying alone.
Okay, 2.
2, all right. I'm not doing a very good job of selling you on negative feelings. And then ashamed is 60. How ashamed do you want to feel?
Yeah, 0, if I can choose 0.
And how defective and inferior do you want to feel?
That I'll give like a 5, because that does motivate me to
sure
do the difficult things.
Mm-hmm. How alone and lonely do you want to feel?
0.
0. How embarrassed and self-conscious and humiliated and foolish?
0.
0. How hopeless and discouraged, etc.
0.
How frustrated and stuck?
Also 0.
And then how angry and mad, etc.
I'll do that at 5.
A 5, okay. You ready now?
Yes.
And you know who Rhonda is?
Yes. Rhonda,
you know who I am?
Negative Mina, and you're also a negative Mina.
Let's just jump right into externalization of voices. We'll skip identify the distortions and all the other stuff, and I'll start. And Rhonda and I can do tag teams, but I'm going to be that negative Mina in your brain, and I want to remind you that it's a fact that your body is going to fall apart.
It will. My body is going to fall apart. It happens to everyone. So the part that I have a little more control over is what I can do to slow down the process. I have a lot of knowledge and experience in this field, perhaps a lot more than majority of other people. So I can use some of those strategies that I know. And as much as I am worried about the existing therapies not being perfectly helpful, I have that option too, as many other women do. So, and also I'm not alone in my experience. I have a lot of friends who have gone through this, and they actually are really happy and strong. women that I really look up to, and they have not fallen apart. In fact, they seem to be much more liberated and stronger and at ease with their life compared to when they were younger. So I think it's not necessarily all true.
Okay, so who won?
I did.
Big or small?
I think it was huge.
Huge. Great. Cool.
I think thinking about other women who are doing well is very hopeful and encouraging.
Yeah. Just I have a question for you. Is menopause the cause of your unhappiness?
The way I think about it is not the menopause itself.
Yeah, I was just pointing that because you can always add a counterattack too to your positive thoughts, but you didn't. You got too huge without it.
Let's do the counterattack. I always like that.
Yeah, Rhonda, your turn.
Okay, you're going to have to spend endless hours in physicians' offices, none of whom are going to help you.
That might be true, but you know what else is not helpful? You constantly whining and nagging about these things to me. I'm like sick and tired of you being hopeless and despairing and being a constant bully. So you're not helping either. Get out of here.
And who won that?
I did. It was a big one.
It was not big, not huge.
No.
Shall we do a role reversal?
Sure. So, Mina, you're going to be, I know how you don't like taking time off and going to doctor's appointments, and like you just most of the time feel with these things like there is not much to be done anyways. There is not much to be done anyway. So you're going to be sitting there and spending a lot of time in doctor's offices.
Well, given my level of training and experience, I really don't think I'm going to be spending any time in doctors' offices because I probably am the person that's training the doctors on how to cope with women who are going through what I'm going through. My problem isn't that I'm going to be sitting in doctors' offices. My problem is listening to you. And that's what needs to end.
Like that.
Was that a big, small, or huge one?
It was a huge.
That was huge? Okay.
Yeah.
Now you do it huge. So, Mina, you are going to have to spend endless hours in physicians' offices, and none of whom are going to be able to help you.
Unless something happens that requires like treatment, like again, cancer or osteoporosis or something along those lines, I don't think you will be spending any time in doctors' offices. What's going to be most least helpful is you constantly whining about these things or like nagging about these things to me. And
you can quote the Buddha.
You can. What was it?
It's the sixth secret.
Stick it where the sun don't shine. He often said that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think your response was different this time than the first time. Do you?
No, I think it was the second part that you added that I like, that I don't have to spend endless hours in physicians' offices unless I would, like, I have a lot of knowledge and I know what works and what doesn't. So then instead of just going blindly and sitting there, okay, you go when you need to. And the thing is, I also know that CBT works. Like one of the best things for postmenopausal vasomotor symptoms. So then I have all those skills. So no, I don't have to spend a lot of time in doctor's offices.
And now who won?
I won big, huge.
Huge.
Right.
Okay, awesome. That was beautiful.
Okay, well, I know you beat that negative Mina over there, but you're not going to beat this one. And I just want to remind you that you're going to be grumpy and agitated, and your husband, Maurice, is going to leave you. In fact, you're kind of grumpy and agitated today.
Yes. If I continue on this, if I was going blindly and not knowing what was happening, that would have definitely happened, being grumpy and agitated and distant and walled off. But I learned today that I'm the one who's causing a lot of the tensions in my relationship. And I also learned that by actually connecting with Maurice, I wouldn't be feeling grumpy and alone and anxious. Therefore, you're wrong. I won't be feeling grumpy and agitated. And if I did sometimes, I know my way out of it. I have the daily mood log.
Great. Who won?
I did.
Big or small?
It was big.
Big or huge?
And it was huge because I feel empowered. I feel I have the tools to even if I get like mood swings and things like that, then I have the mood log. Rhonda is shaking her head. What is?
Well, no. I'm just thinking. I'm not shaking my head at that. I'm just thinking that you're dealing with the moods of being grumpy and agitated and worried about Maurice leaving you. But what's really going to happen is you won't be able to keep up your current workload, and they're going to let you go.
Ouch. Yes, that's a little bit of that has happened, but it actually wasn't because of me having these symptoms. It was for a different reason. And yeah, that one is a little hard because it's I do worry about not remember, like one of my reframes was to kind of meeting the expectations, and I think a lot is expected from me, and I do worry about not being able to live up to the expectation and being punished for it. It has happened. So I don't know how to talk back to that one.
Okay, why don't you hit me with it?
So, Mina, you're going to be having brain fog, and your brain wouldn't be like as sharp. You won't be sleeping as much, and you won't meet the expectations at work, and you're going to be jobless. You're going to get punished and in trouble at work.
Homeless and punished. Something
Homeless,
to look
punished,
forward to.
jobless. I know. Ouch. What could be worse? We didn't do the cognitive distortions, so we weren't able to talk about how much fortune telling is involved in this thought, and negative fortune telling. And I know this is bordering on cheerleading, but I'm going to do it anyway. That
Give in.
I'm giving in to cheerleading. Is that the level of my productivity now is so high that if it goes down a little bit, I don't think anyone actually will notice. And I don't think that menopause has anything to do with my level of productivity, because like I've talked about before, I know about nutrition, I know about exercise, I know how to keep myself healthy. And that all is going to support me in keeping my current workload.
Okay, now ask her how much your cheerleading is helping.
I'm almost not done.
Face the facts. Okay, finish up and then ask her. Cheerlead a little bit more and then ask her.
Okay, go ahead. How much did that help you? You go ahead and say, you can say not at all. It won't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. It definitely helped. Let me, I would say it was a big one, but not a huge one. I'm still worried about getting punished, fired, let go, laid off, all of those things. If I'm not working like at the full, like a what is it? Horse,
like 110%.
Yeah, like a racing horse.
So okay, you want to try again?
Do you want to try now, Mina? Now that I failed at it?
Reversal? Can I?
Yeah.
David, can I attack you?
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
David.
Oh, you want to try it? Yeah. Well, I want to just tell you that you can't keep up with your current workload. You got brain fog, and pretty soon they're going to let go of you, and you'll be helpless, homeless, and punished. And I'll be the first to punish you.
Yeah, you already did. It's not going to be working with me as the group leader. So,
no, my name is Mina, negative Mina.
Oh, Mina, right. This is a hard one. Why am I resisting?
We can do a role reversal.
Yeah. So Mina, you are going to have brain fog and be sleepy and tired, and you're going to zone out of your sessions. You won't be productive at work, and you're going to be laid off.
No, I don't think so. I think they're lucky to have me, and I've been working like crazy, and the brain fog is kind of an illusion. I have another problem much bigger than brain fog.
What is that?
Listening to your horse shit. So, tell you the truth, I'm kind of glad that if I'm going to get laid off a little, I think I deserve a kind of rest. I've been working at 110% for a long time, and I'll be working at 100% and 10% again soon. But maybe I need to take it a little easy and love myself a little and stop listening to your horse shit in my ear, giving me all these crappy false messages. Take a hike.
You won, but one thought that came up in mind is which goes back to Maurice, if I lose my job, Maurice is going to be very disappointed in me because he worries about the financial. You remember I was mentioning he's worried about the fun. So immediately Maurice came to my mind is like, no, I can't say that I will take time off. He's going to absolutely freak out about the money thing, and then we're going to have a conflict about that.
Yeah.
So
well, try a different angle.
Okay, so yeah.
So you can't answer this when they're going to let you go soon. You'll be out of work, and it's going to be terrible for you.
Yeah, but you know what? There are 50% of other people at my work are also women, and I honestly don't know any woman who was laid off or fired because of menopause. So I just don't think that is. Yes, it is going to be unpleasant, but I don't know anyone who has been laid off once they hit the menopause because of that, at least. I know a lot of people who continue working and they find a way.
Did you win huge there?
I think it was huge. It's just like the evidence of there are so many women going through this. So it's not going to be pleasant, but none of them have like really lost their job because of this. Maybe some have, but
now, just as a colleague, when someone can't really answer a negative thought convincingly, what is the only cause of that?
Resistance.
Yeah. So maybe this is a thought that you don't want to crush. Maybe it's a helpful thought.
I thought about that. But I think just the thinking about other women is helpful. That it's not true that other women have been laid off if they haven't, because of their symptoms, they haven't been giving their best. I think I was a huge win for that one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But you should be doing more strength and weight training exercises, but you're too weak and unfit to do them. And that, I mean, that's just a physical reality, and there's no way out of that one.
Sure, but then at the same time, again, I know a lot of women who are in their 60s and 70s who are quite frail, and with a good personal trainer, they do quite well. So you are overgeneralizing and fortune telling there too.
Who won?
I did.
Big or small?
It was big.
Big or huge?
Huge.
Huge. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any of these that are still bugging you? There's the 9 on the back, and then I added 4 more. I shouldn't be so whiny. There's nothing I can do. I should know better. I'm too self-centered and selfish.
Self-centered.
I will have to go to plastic surgery and all of that. Are any of those?
Right. The plastic surgery. Let's do the plastic surgery.
Okay. That's yours.
Mina, I hate to tell you this. Oh, you are going to have to get plastic surgery. You better start making your appointments soon.
Saving money for it too, right?
Yeah, save your money. Not for retiring, for plastic surgery.
This one seems realistic. So it's true that in my family, in my husband's line of work, a lot of women have gotten plastic surgery and they look amazing and they look great. I'm not there, not ready for it. But if the time comes, I can decide. So I don't have to make a decision about it right now.
Who won that?
I won big because I left the option of, or maybe actually huge. I left the option of not entirely resisting it, but also not having to make that decision right now. It's not something that I have to make a decision, nor do I have to worry about it. And if there is a time for it and I feel like I need to, I will. Or
you can look to a decision-making form anytime, and that's always an option.
Right.
Are any of the rest of these bugging you?
The self-centered and the selfish one, I like to be attacked with that one too.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just a fact, though. You're selfish and self-centered.
I am selfish and self-centered. I also know I'm not necessarily alone. I do want to be always kind and always compassionate and always supportive of those around me, but at the same time, still a human. And in particular, if I'm too anxious, I become quite self-centered. So now I know with the relationship journal, sharing my feelings and emotions and being vulnerable can help me not get there to the degree that I have gone in the past.
Who won?
I did.
Big or small?
It was a huge one. I think it was just me trying to be strong and to.
Okay. Do a role reversal.
Okay. So Mina, you are self-centered and so selfish. It's just really hard to connect with you. It's all about you all the time.
Well, those are actually two of my lesser flaws. And I'll plead guilty as accused. I'm just lucky to have so many people who love me with my flaws. And I learned a lot today about how to open up a little bit. And the only thing worse than having flaws like that.
Yeah, what is it?
Listening to your horse shit. It's 100 times worse than a sin.
Yeah. It sounds like the negative Mina is the one who is like very self-centered.
Yeah.
Get rid of her.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
great. Who won?
I did.
And to what extent?
Big. It was huge.
Yeah. Nice. Anything left?
No, I don't think so.
Let's just take a look at your emotions right now. How are you feeling right now in sadness?
We're doing the mood log, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not sad at all.
How anxious?
I'll give it a 2. I think it's a good 2.
How ashamed?
0.
How inferior and inadequate?
0.
0. How lonely and alone?
Not alone or at all. 0.
How humiliated and embarrassed? 0. How hopeless?
0.
0.
Maybe -5.
Negative 5. You know the best score we've ever gotten on one of these?
What?
It was from Karen. It was we got a -1,000 on one of them, and then we got a -1,000,000 on another one.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
How frustrated?
0.
How angry?
0.
0. And then what would you say are the was the key for you in changing these feelings? Because we did a lot of different stuff.
Finding out what it was, that was the most scary about the whole thing, it was my relationship with Maurice and not having that close, warm relationship. That's really something that's really valuable to me, and it's really, really important. I also didn't see myself contributing to the tension in our relationship. I think it was really helpful to know that I'm shutting him down, and it's the reason that we can't talk about these things. Is a huge part of that is me, and then I think I also thought that I'll know about the reframes and like the values of those negative relationships, Rhonda. And I really appreciate you actually suggesting that we do that, because I didn't know. I struggled with finding out why they're helpful, or like how do they relate to my core values. Given though I use that with my clients a lot, and they find it helpful, I thought it would be a piece of cake, and it wasn't, to come up with the reframes.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Good thing. Well, what's your homework going to be?
It's going to be talking with Maurice.
And then will you send an email to Rhonda and David, either mission accomplished or I stubbornly refused?
Yes.
And
I also feel like I need to be sensitive about the timing of it, so I can't be too selfish about it. Like, I want to talk with him tonight, and then
yeah, I know what you mean. Well, that's exciting, though, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
well, you always do beautiful, selfless work. If you weren't so selfish and self-centered, I have no idea that we'd be like floating as gods or something like that, because you're so lovely and so kind and loving and generous and self-aware. It's really an inspiration, at least to me. And I'm just so proud of you, and so grateful to know you and to have this chance to work with you on something so tender and personal, and you're so brave about.
The feeling is mutual. All the same to both you and Rhonda. I love you both very much, and it's just, you add so much to our lives, and it's just so amazing and magical to have you and to have met you and to be able to hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe I come up with these things so I can hang out.
I know. Come up with another problem.
I'll look for my next trouble.
Yeah, it's really a blessing to have the relationship that we have with you, David, and to share in your wisdom and be the recipient of healing. Mina, as you go through this, I'm listening to you and thinking, oh yeah. And I think so many women and men too will be able to relate to everything that you talked about. And I thought a really key point was when David really simply asked you, how are you forcing Maurice to treat you the way you are? And there was just so much insight, and you could hop on that and think about what you could do, what are you doing, what you could do to change that. And that was really cool.
Yeah, life teaches us all lessons, different lessons for each of us, whatever lessons we need, and it keeps teaching us over and over again, which is just kind of interesting to me.
Right.
There was something else I was going to say, but now I can't remember what it was. But thank you so much. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you again, David, for allowing me to be your co-therapist, and thank you, Mina, for bringing this really interesting and heartfelt issue to us. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. I'll see you both soon.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This has been another episode of the Feeling Good podcast. For more information, visit Dr. Burns' website at feelinggood.com, where you will find the show notes under the podcast page. You will also find archives of previous episodes and many resources for therapists and non-therapists. We welcome your comments and questions. If you want to support the show, please share the podcast with people who might benefit from it. You could also go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. I am your host, Rhonda Borowski, the director of the Feeling Great Therapy Center. We hope you enjoyed this episode. I invite you to join us next time for another episode of the Feeling Good podcast.